In a world with alien nests, robots, and people with only one-word names, that's gotta be 1979's Alien.
Stan, Lane, Steve, Dicko, Jim, Lee, Jack, Kirby, Greg, Hula, Neil, David, Mark, Miller, Frank, Miller, Ward, Elvis, Jack, John, James, Don, Rich, Donner, John, Thaffer, Sam, Raymond, Pat, Jenkins, Zach, Vaughn. It's not always perfect, but it's always worth it. The comic book picture show.
It's not always perfect, but it's always worth it. The comic book picture show.
It's the comic book picture show.
What's up, Pat?
What up, bud?
Oh man, this is the first time we get to talk to you in a while, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because first there was Doc Savage and then the Blade Runners. We haven't seen you in 3 whole episodes, man.
Yeah.
Your beard's so long, it's straggly now.
I
really
should
should-
cleaned up.
I really shouldn't have trapped you in the basement that whole time. That was really weird of me. Your fiance's really upset. She made me have to bring her on the podcast next week. It's a whole thing. Anyways, how have you been, bud?
I'm pretty good, man. How were those movies?
Well, one was one of the worst things we've ever seen on this show besides Barbarella. People have heard me rant on that already. One is like tied with this one as like the best movie we've covered on this show so far. And the other one was really, really gross. So I can't tell you enough. Watch Blade Runner. It's excellent. Don't go anywhere near its sequel.
Okay.
There you go. If you haven't
Fair
listened to
enough.
those episodes, that's it in a bottle, kids. I, of course, am your host, current New Orleans Saints quarterback, and at one point, Super Bowl MVP Drew Brees. Of course, with my cohort, Patrick Claremont. Hi. And this is the Comic Book Picture Show. And, of course, today we are talking Alien.
Alien.
Now, had you seen this movie before, dude?
No.
That's
I hadn't.
exciting. Because I always try and rewatch these movies as a fresh-eyed viewer. And you actually are a fresh-eyed viewer on this one, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, I think I seen Alien versus Predator a long time ago, and that was the first one, and it didn't really make me want to watch any more of them.
Well,
So
yeah, that movie is such a fucking far departure from this movie, though.
Exactly the point I was just going to make. I just didn't know
The brilliance that
what it was.
Yeah, like, that's a total, like, bullshit early 2000s new metal and electro music soundtrack, like, fucking action movie.
Yeah.
That we'll have to get to eventually. This is, like, actually a good horror
Suspense.
movie.
Yeah, super suspenseful.
Yeah. And, like, it's just set in a sci-fi world. It's... Yeah. We're gonna get into it. But first, let's go through the procedures as usual. Alien was released on May 25th, 1979. 2 years to the day, almost, after Star Wars was released. And you know, this movie pretty much got greenlit because of Star Wars. Cause
Right.
the success of Star Wars was just like, everything sci-fi, make it. Now.
Right.
Keep those dollars rolling. And of course, it was made by 20th Century Fox, the company that made Star Wars, which we'll be covering next week on May 4th. You know, May the 4th be with you. And as I mentioned earlier, Jeb will be joining us for the Battle of Hogwarts Day on May 2nd. You know, go Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
All that happy horse shit. But this really is the month of Ridley Scott for us, because this is also directed by Ridley Scott. As I have said to Pat Jay before, known for doing Blade Runner, Thelma and Louise, Gladiator, Hannibal, which I did not realize before we did the Blade Runner movies. I was like, that's interesting. Black Hawk Down that same year, American Gangster, Robin Hood, because he fucking loves fucking Russell Crowe for some goddamn reason, Prometheus, The Martian, Alien Covenant, and the last movie he has released since, well, at the time of the recording, is All the Money in the World. That, of course, is not his whole filmography, but it's pretty much all the notable one. So, pretty prolific, dude. Like, between this and Blade Runner, I'm like, okay, well, you have two, spoiler alert, 10 out of 10 movies for me right here. And then all your other movies are kind of a mixed bag for me. But rarely do you see one director with two 10 out of 10s for me.
Yeah, this type of list for sure.
It was written by Dan O'Bannon, who wrote and directed the Return of the Living Dead remake, and also co-wrote Total Recall, which is another semi-prolific sci-fi classic. This dude had been wanting to make a sci-fi movie for like his whole college career and everything, like the whole 70s pretty much, and was like one of those guys just ready to pounce when fucking the Star Wars boom happened, and had actually made a student film, I think called Dark Star or something, like very generic name like that, with a director who you would know from a 1978 film that basically defined slasher horror. Oh, I am trying to bait a name out of you, by the way.
Carpenter?
Yep, John Carpenter. Which I'm just like, I would be semi-intrigued to see these guys, student film.
Right.
Because it'd still be all that weird synth from Carpenter. Because, like, well, we have to have music. Bum, 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 dun, dun, bum, 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 dun, dun, dun. Like, it would be ridiculous. So the budget of this movie, quite adjacent to Star Wars, as I will keep making that comparison a bunch, $11 million. Not bad. It looks great for $11 million. Like,
for sure.
Really some beautiful settings. But it really is like a lot of in the ship, but it's a lot of different parts of the ship we have to see throughout. So it does feel like as massive with as much of a multitude of set designs as you get from your big blockbusters. Just like very self-contained to the ship, mostly. You know what I mean? But like, you want to guess a box office number on this movie?
40 mil?
Double it.
Double it?
Yeah, 80.
Wow.
Yeah. Made pretty respectable money. It's not, Star Wars money, but for a new original, franchise, that's pretty cool. Of course, man, I gotta ask you one very important question. Is it rotten?
No way it's rotten.
No way, dude. Especially because like we've started to figure out that they just curate reviews from like the past 10 years or something. Like they don't go back that far to curate their reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. So of course everybody loves this movie. It's 97%.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And I think all three reviews that I pulled these snippets from all were like 4 out of 4 or 5 out of 5 reviews. The first one I have is from Stephen Cole of Globe and Mail. I don't know if that's a magazine, a newspaper, just say Globe and Mail. Anyways, seen again a quarter century later, we marvel at how the filmmaker generates so much tension and sweat with bare minimum moving parts. Yeah, sorta. Like, it's not that bare bones, but like It's pretty bare bones. Like most of the movie does, well, half the movie kind of relies on Sigourney. The next one I have is Keith Ulrich, Uhlich, of Time Out, said the limited strengths of its staple sci-fi horror always derives from either the offhand organic Freudian renaissance of its design or the purely brilliantly manipulated editing and pacing of its above average shot quota. I don't know why you had to be so like backhanded with it, with your like it's above average shot quota, and like it has to derive of one or the other, and it's like it just plays to the formula well, man. Like, what do you want from it?
Right.
Like, sorry, not everything can be like some fucking forthcoming life-altering concept. Anyways, the last one we have is from Eric Lutgard of the Seattle Times, who says, the most startling thing watching Alien again is its pacing. The first 45 minutes, little happens. It's all slow. It's exquisite build-up in which the second half seems all the more horrific.
That's exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, because once people start dying fast.
Right. It's a very slow build, and I guess while you're watching it for the first time anyway, you are like, when something's gonna happen. But keeping you in suspense that long made it all that more scary once something did happen.
Yeah, because, we'll get into it, but the first thing that happens, and then it just kind of doesn't fail to keep up pace with it. It's fucking weird. But now it's one of your favorite segments, bud. One of mine, too. Wearing it! So, first thing we gotta talk about is Ridley, because Sigourney Weaver is fine in this movie.
Yep.
She basically has to wear the same suit for most of it that everybody else does. And most of them pull it off pretty okay. But she looks really good at it, too. You know what I mean? And her hair is usually on point in most scenes and everything. And yeah, nothing really much to say about her besides, I never thought Sigourney would look probably that good in overalls, even though this happened, like, way before I was born. But if I had to put that thought in my brain, I'd probably be like, that probably looked like janky and like stocky and stuff, but it works.
Right. The wardrobe, like the astronaut suits, everything that they did wasn't your typical sci-fi movie. It was very like based in realism, like the computer screens, everything was very like what you would almost see in a ship compared to like other sci-fi movies, which I appreciated. It was like believable.
Yeah, everything
that's what
felt
that would look
practical.
like. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I want to like then talk about what Kane was wearing when he woke up from the face hugger thing. Did you notice how he's wearing lingerie?
No.
He's literally wearing like a lacy half top sleeve thing, like almost like it's a blanket type thing over his shoulders, and then he's got like a V-shaped unitard on with like strings in between it, and I'm like, why is he in a unitard?
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, I don't, it's like how in like the first scene when they get out of the cryogenic sleep, they're all in their tighty whities, and I'm like, why did they all have to sleep in their tighty whities? This is interesting. And then he's fucking wearing lingerie, like later on in the movie. I'm like, what subtext are you giving me, Ridley? I don't understand. This movie's not trying to steer one way or the other than these two little bits. What are we doing here, man? That's just a lot.
Yeah, I missed that. I was just like, where the fuck is it?
Yeah, right? Yeah, you're so distracted by actually being able to see his face that the rest of the body just gets to be all fucking looking like Ezra Miller on the fucking cover of Playboy right now, and like nobody notices. Which Ezra Miller on the cover of Playboy looks fantastic right now. I ain't trying to shit on him right now or anything. Them. Pardon me. Let's move on to what's actually in this movie, which is Lambert's hair, which just starts... I feel like this starts the trend of every sci-fi movie has to have a secondary lady with, like, really short hair.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, Lambert looks good in this movie, but,
For sure.
why is there always a lady with short hair? Yeah. Like, I'm not saying there's not...
Popular hairstyle.
See, like, settings in your life, you're not going to encounter a lady with short hair. Like, in plenty of different places. But, like... Every time I walk into a spaceship, there's going to be a lady with short hair?
Yeah. Easier to manage in space, maybe?
Oh yeah, that shit's not going to float around on you or nothing? Whatever. Alright, I'll take it. That's all I got. Anybody else's hair you want to talk about? Dallas's is pretty fucking thick. It's just that big bowl cut thing with the big beard. I can't imagine how he'd feel at the beach. He's just like, his head's a fucking 150 degrees.
No.
It's a lot of hair. A lot of hair that's just surrounding you. Like, I've had that haircut before. It is just like, it just surrounds your whole head and makes you so warm. I'm just like, with the beard and everything, I'm like, man, I'm just uncomfortable for you right now, bud. But anyways, we can move on. Is there anything else you want to mention about the aesthetic of the movie?
I looked, like I said earlier, I liked how like the spacesuits and everything was very realistic to me.
Did you notice that the escape pod kind of looked like the Millennium Falcon?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, right?
I got that.
I was like, hey now. Why is there a Millennium Falcon in the movie? That's a bit weird. But the rest of the ship looked fucking gorgeous. Like, I like the inside of the ship, and like, when we're doing the title cards where like, well, yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. I shouldn't go too into the title cards, but yeah, I like what they do with the title cards. Anyways, so yeah, that's wearing it. So now we have to get on to our blind rank of these movies, my friend. This is what I guess you would call the first of 8 movies, because there's the quadrilogy of, like, you know, this, Aliens, 3, and Resurrection. Then you have Alien vs. Predator, and Alien vs. Predator Requiem, which I guess you don't count the Predators into all this, but you kind of do, but you kind of don't. And then, like, there's, you know, obviously Prometheus and Covenant. So, where you got this?
I'm gonna have to say 1 because it's the only one I've really seen.
Wow.
So that's just, I mean, it was good. I haven't seen if the other ones are, so I'll go with 1.
I've seen, I think, 5 of them, and I'm going to go with it being number 1. Without a doubt. I think that the first 2 movies kind of get unargued as 1 and 2, but we'll get...
A lot of people I've heard say the second one is the best.
They're wrong. We will fight about this next year. We will have a duel to the death. Anyways. So, let's get into the movie, bud. Of course, we start off with the title cards, which is, like, them in space with, like, these lines showing up at the top of the screen with everybody's name going under it, which I found it really, really interesting that the first name you saw was Tom Skerritt over Sigourney Weaver. I'm like, really? Skerritt gets top billing? Like, he dies halfway through.
Right.
It's like, that's a little misogynistic. Ooh, also, before we lay into this super thick, how was Sigourney Weaver overlooked for a Best Actress nomination for this movie?
Yeah, she was phenomenal.
Right? And, like, I'm sorry, like, Jaws was nominated a couple years before that. Star Wars and Close Encounters were both nominated a couple years before that. You can't tell me that the big box office fucking sci-fi films and horror films are, like, off fucking, like, are untouchable in the fucking Oscar universe. You know what I mean? Like, this won for Best Special Effects, but it's like, you don't give it Best Picture nom, you don't give Ridley a nom, you don't give Sigourney a nom?
It's annoying how they really have an architect type of what they want for that. Like, they're trying to keep Netflix movies out of it and, like, streaming movies out of it. And it's like, they're movies.
Yeah.
Like, why don't they... That makes no sense that they don't count. I don't know.
They've done it to HBO forever, too.
Yeah.
I think. Which, like, I don't know how many of them are worth arguing for, but, you know, they always clean up at the Golden Globes, which is not saying much, because they fucking nominated fucking Johnny Depp for The Tourist and fucking Alice in Wonderland.
Oh.
For Best Actor, like, in different years. I'm like, guys, we don't nominate the Mad Hatter. That's bad.
Right.
It's bad news bears. But anyways, yeah, so let's get back into the title cards. You know, eventually it spells out Alien, and it's a film by Ridley Scott. We're passing over what I think is Saturn or something. And then we get another title card up on the screen that says Commercial Towing Vehicle, the Nostromo. Crew, 7. Cargo, refinery processing 20 tons of mineral ore. Course, returning to Earth. Then we have to get all these beautiful shots of the ship, like going down every such passageway, going into various rooms, like really getting some great angle shots on everything, and like...
And it really is awesome, like, for that budget you said.
Yeah.
Like, it all is very, very cool.
It really is the set designers just stroking it visually, just being like, I put all of my time into this for the past 6 months, like... Give me a nomination. I think they got a nomination but didn't win, and I'm like, fucking robbery, I tell you, robbery. I didn't look up the 79 Oscars, but I'm gonna go with robbery anyway. Moving on. So then Mother gets a transmission, and so she wakes everyone up from their cryogenic sleep, and that's when everybody has to come out in their tidy whities.
Right, and nobody knows what's up yet.
Yeah. It's very odd. I think the first person we see get up is Ash, which is kind of foretelling for the rest of the film, of course. But, they have some breakfast, and they bullshit about bonuses, and, we kind of just get to feel out everybody's dynamic with each other. And then Dallas goes into the mother room, and he figures out about the transmission, and he then calls in a meeting. And we're already like 10 minutes into the movie, but this is how little amount of things happen in the first 45 minutes of this movie.
It's a little hard to keep paying attention after a while.
Yeah, I looked at Facebook twice in the first half hour, and I'm like, damn it, no more Twitter, none of it. And take notes, you bastard. But really, it's because, like, it's just long establishing shots into, like, 3 minutes of dialogue into long establishing shots. But it's still beautiful. Dallas calls a meeting, gets the whole crew together, and they find out they're only halfway back to Earth. Why the fuck are we awake if we're halfway back? Mad at you. Anyways, because Mother got this transmission about there is a planet with some kind of life on it, and they're like, oh, I guess we have to go check it out. But before they do, they listen to the audio from the transmission, and that's where you can hear like that weird clicking sound that the fucking aliens do that I'm not even gonna attempt to do right now because no, not even gonna do that.
Not possible.
They find the planet that the transmission was received from. The tech or the engineer dudes are like, we didn't sign up to fucking find aliens and shit. Like, we want bigger bonuses if we have to do this, blah blah blah. It's like, well, by law, if we get a transmission like this and we don't investigate it, then nobody gets any bonuses. So fuck you. You don't want any money, or you want some money? It's like, let's go to the dumb planet. And so they have a real shaky landing.
Yeah, real shaky.
Yeah, it's like almost turbulent. And then everything just... Oh, I noted here that the navigation lights at the bottom of the ship, this is where it looked kind of cheap to me, because it was just like, those are just Christmas lights. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That was the one thing. Anyways, the systems overload and everything starts blowing up and whatever, which is weird.
I was like, what the fuck?
Oh no, that part still makes full sense to me in the scope of the movie. Like, what did the aliens do to make the systems overload like that?
Don't have an answer for you, bud.
Whatever. Some nerd will tell me on fucking Instagram or Twitter or something. I'll just be like a fucking full 7-tweet thread of like, well, really, when they hit the atmosphere, it was Planet Natar, and they were like, blah, blah, blah. No. I don't know, man. Sorry. So, everything's fried. They say it's going to take like 16 hours to fucking redo everything. And so Dallas is like, well, me, Lambert, and Kane, which is him, the only other female on this cast that's not Sigourney Weaver, Veronica Cartwright, and Kane, who is played by John Hurt, very famous peoples. And so they go out exploring, and it's snowing out there and everything. It's a weird setting. Like, it felt like that was the part of the movie where it was like almost like a little Tim Burton-y, because it's just all gray and windy and snowy, and I'm just like, is the skeleton going to pop out and sing a musical to me?
Yeah, but think about if that planet's far away from the sun, that is how it would be.
No, totally. So they find another ship, like, sunken sort of into the ground. And they're like, well, shit, I guess we got to go explore on the other ship. So they go to explore the other ship, and Kane finds this hole in the ground. And he goes down it, and he finds an egg nest.
Yeah, that egg is mad weird, dude.
Dude, when he can see through the egg, I was like, that is some really cool effects. Like, for 79, that is really cool. And then when the egg hatches, I was like, welcome back to 1979. It's just like 4 little, like, set up prod doors that just flip, like, perfect angles. And I'm like, yeah, totally, that's how the egg would hatch.
Right.
And then we just see something, like, it's all pink and swirling around, and you're like, what the fuck is this thing,
The
dude?
second he, like, puts it near his face, I was like, no, don't.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Yeah, there's a reason we call this a face hugger, dude. Haven't you seen this movie before? God.
Oh, my God. No, I would not put it anywhere near that close to me. See something swimming around in there? Your first reaction is, what's that? Stick my face in.
Yeah, no. That's like the dumb guy thing to do, and you're supposed to be like a brilliant cargo astronaut or something. The fuck is going on with you, man? But yeah, so he gets the face hugger on him. And at this point, they have to... Ridley figures out the transmission at the same time and realizes it's not like a... How do I put it? A like, hey, we're out here stranded type of thing. It's more like a warning, stay away thing. And so she wants to go out and find them, but before she can, they get back on the ship with Kane, who has the face hugger on him. And she's like, nah, you guys gotta go into quarantine for 24 hours. Like, you know how this works, this is procedure and everything.
And everybody else is like, fuck you to her, but like, I get it.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, like, I don't know what the fuck that thing is on his face, and like, yeah, we gotta bring him to the medical center. I'm like, great, but then the thing's on the ship.
Yep, right.
And I don't love that idea. Like, maybe I can send Ash out to you, and he can trap it somehow from out there. What the fuck do you want me to do, man? And then Ash just goes ahead and opens the door for him. And it's like, cool, alright, don't listen to the lady, that's nice.
Right then and there, I was skeptical of that dude.
Yeah, that's his first sign of like, oh, I'm evil. So they can see the alien going down, putting a tube down Kane's throat through an X-ray machine in the next scene. And Dallas is headstrong about getting it off him. So they try to cut into it, and it starts bleeding out acid.
Yeah, and then that shit drips through like 4 floors.
Yeah, I was like hard keeping count because I had like looked away for a second, but I was like, I wrote down 3 decks. I guess it was 4.
No, it might have been 3. I might be
Who cares?
exaggerating.
Somebody online, again, will correct us on this. But again, don't care all that much, man. It went through a bunch of floors. It's fine. Anyways. So then, like, well, what the fuck are we going to do to him? Because we can't just try and rip it off him. It might be fucking the only thing giving him oxygen. So they kind of just all call it an evening, weirdly, where it's like, we don't know how to save him. I don't know, he could be alive for the next couple hours, and that's a couple minutes. Let's see what happens. Let's all go to bed. And then Ridley comes in and tosses Ash, and they bullshit about Kane, and then they talk about how the thing is making regenerative cells in his body, so it, like, helps him and helps itself at the same time, weirdly. Yeah, a lot of, like, you know, movie science mumbo-jumbo. And then when they talk about Ash breaking protocol and breaking rank on her, because, you know, she is supposed to, like, be the person in charge if Dallas and Kane are not on the ship.
Yep.
Honestly, even for them, I'm like, wow, they made a lady number 3. Good for them.
Cool.
Like, it's like, that shouldn't be a oddity, but, like, even in the 70s, I'm like, wow, a movie where a lady actually has rank. That's interesting. Ash then calls Dallas and Ridley into the med ward because all of a sudden the face hugger's gone.
Yeah, they can't find that thing. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, this is where this is gonna get good. Got it. I'm ready, movie. Let's go. And it falls onto Ridley over his examination bed, and it's dead.
Yep.
Weirdly. And they're
They
like,
give you that jump scare though when he pokes the stomach and it does like the reflex.
yep. He's like, oh, that's just an aftermath reflex or whatever. And they're trying to figure out they can dissect it, but it's like, dude, the thing was already bleeding acid. I don't need you to cut into it anymore.
Right.
So they're like, we're just going to try and keep it in confinement, and let's try and get out of here. And it's like, well, we're not fully fixed. It's like, well, are the boosters fixed? Yeah, but we still don't have lights on the 3rd or 4th floor. Who gives a fuck? Let's get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Kind of shit. Which, like, that's the point of the movie where she is just being, like, too by the books for me. You know what I mean? Where she's like, I'm here for rules.
Just get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I'm with them. Let's get the fuck out of here. So anyways, they bring Kane out and they start having a meal together. And all of a sudden he starts feeling really sick. He starts seizing on the table.
Yep.
You see a patch of blood shoot up out of his shirt.
And from clips, I knew what was about to happen with this one.
Oh yeah. Because, of course, you got, like, the chest burster that has to, do its name. Burst out of his chest. and it's really fucking gross looking and really fucking scary. And immediately Lambert is crying hysterically. Everyone's covered in blood. And Ash is like, don't touch it, because, like, Parker was going to go and stab it. I'm like, Ash, you fucking asshole, you stabbed that thing. I'm like, fuck you, that just popped out of your friend's chest. Stab it dead
It
now.
has teeth.
Yeah. Again, you don't trust the robots, and you probably shouldn't trust aliens, especially once they pop out of your friend's chest. It's gross.
And then that's the campiest part of the movie, I would probably say, when that thing just runs away.
Yeah, when it scurries away, like... So yeah, then they have to shoot Kane out into space with very little ceremony, by the way. That's disrespectful. Kane just died. And this, my friend, is where the game of cat and mouse must begin.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because everybody has to grab, their usual stun guns and their trackers and their nets. Because let's use a net to find this thing. It just popped out of our friend's chest. I'm sure it'll get tangled up on rope.
It's not a Pokemon. Like, what are they doing?
Well, do you ever catch a Pokemon properly in the net? I mean, I've never watched it that thoroughly.
No. There's probably a Pokeball that is like a netball or something. No, I wouldn't be
Maybe.
shocked, right?
Sure. Why doesn't Team Rocket just use those?
They do try. They do, I'm 90% sure.
I definitely use a lot of rope. I remember that much. But anyways, let's move on. So yeah, everybody goes looking for him, and then Dallas goes... pardon me. Firstly, we have the two teams. They're Lambert, Dallas, and Ash. And we got Parker and Brent with Ridley. And Brent is played by Harry Dean Stanton. And I don't remember who played Parker. Give me 1 second. He was played by Yaphet Kotto. Why was I reading that like I didn't know that name? Brent ends up having to go find the cat named Jones. Because it comes running out of somewhere when they're tracking it. And for some reason, Jones runs into the room where the alien is. Why the cat would do that, I would think it would run to any other room but that room.
Other direction, yeah.
Yeah, like it's like natural instinct or something. But yeah, then we just see Brent get picked up off the ground by the big scary alien. Which is great first time we get to see the face inside the face.
Yup.
It's really creepy.
It was huge, too. That was the thing.
Yeah, and it's a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
For most of the movie. So then Dallas is like, fuck this. He must be going through the air vents. Can't let anyone else die. I'm going to go into the air vents and try and find it. And then Dallas thinks he's found it. Little did he know that it's actually under him. So when he goes running away to get away from it, he actually is like running right towards it. He turns around. Boom. He's gone. They can't find any blood. They can't find him.
No nothing.
And now everybody's real upset because it's like, fuck, Kane's dead, Brent's dead, Dallas is dead. It's only been like 10 minutes, you guys. What the hell? And Ridley's like, okay, I'm going to take charge by doing exactly what Dallas thought we should do anyways, by just trying to kill the fucking thing. And Lambert's like not having it, but, she's a high-ranking officer. What are you going to do? She wants to split everybody up in pairs to find it, and she goes to Mother, and she finds out Special Order 937.
And robot.
Yeah, because... Do you need a refresher on what Special Order 937 was? Because I have it right here. It said, Priority 1. Ensure return of the organism for analyzation. All other considerations secondary. Crew, expendable. Lovely. Lovely stuff. And then
Isn't
she fucking...
that nice.
Yeah, Ridley is pissed. And she throws Ash up against the wall. Ash then locks up the control room with Ridley in it and throws her around a bit. And we get a good scuffle going. And then Ash tries to stuff a magazine down her throat. But Lambert and Parker try and stop her. Parker then fucking picks up, I think it's a fire extinguisher or something.
Right, it's something, yeah.
And he bashes fucking Ash real good on the head.
And his head just fucking...
flies off.
Yep.
It just hangs there, right off his shoulder. I'm like, ooh, fuck, I forgot about this for a minute.
And then, a bunch of white shit starts spraying out everywhere.
Yeah, it's like weird, like milky looking
Yeah,
shit.
and then like the way they made his neck look and stuff, I thought there was another like alien inside of him because we already did alien coming out of the stomach.
Yeah,
So I thought he was like infected or something, and then they're like robot, and I'm like, oh, so he's like a android type thing.
Yeah, he's spilling out oil or something.
Something. It was just very, I don't know.
So yeah, that's a thing that has to happen, I guess. And then they bring the fucked up body over to the table, and they hotwire the head back working again.
That
So-
part was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was really cool because then he gets a monologue for a minute about like how, you know, he's just doing what he's told. He's programmed to be a thing, and you're all gonna die now. Peace out, homies. And they're like, fuck you, man. So Parker sets him on fire as they leave the control room, which is just lovely. So Ridley has the plan that they're just gonna leave in the shuttle, take their fucking chances. So she's gonna go get the shuttle ready while Parker and Lambert get some supplies. Then Ridley remembers that the cat's out there, so she goes to get the cat. Lambert sees the alien come from behind her as they're grabbing a bunch of supplies, and she just freaks out and stands up against the wall. She doesn't know what to do. She feels cornered.
Yep.
So Parker tries to sacrifice himself, but she dies anyway.
Yeah, that was fucked up. You got both of them.
Yeah, and you got to see Parker struggle for a minute, like bleeding out his mouth and shit, and that was probably like one of the gnarliest elongated death for that portion since that portion of the movie. And like, it was very weird to me that the alien just left them there when he had retrieved everybody else so far.
Right.
You know what I mean? But moving on from that, Ridley sets off the self-destruct, which gives her 10 minutes till the thing's gonna blow up, but 5 minutes that she can still turn it off. The last 5 minutes is just, it's going. So she finds Dallas and Brent in a cocoon, and they're being digested weirdly, and they're like melting and stuff, and it's fucking really grotesque.
And he says he wants to die.
Yeah, so she sets them both aflame.
Yeah, that part was gnarly.
Yeah, that was a really brutal, like, acting experiment she had to do there, which was just, like, brutal. Anyways, she sees an alien blocking her way back to the shuttle, so she tries to turn off the self-destruct, but she doesn't get to it in time. Counts down right as she's turning the coolants off, and they're like, nope, sorry, didn't get there in time. She's like, fuck you, bitch! And, like, tries to break one of the screens and shit. And I'm like, wow, alright. Ridley's losing her marbles. Finally. So, finally she gets into the shuttle and takes off with Jonesy. And, like, doesn't question why the alien was there and then was not there. She's just like, I got lucky, let's move on. And she takes off her jumpsuit, and it's just hanging out in her, like, little crop top and panties. Which I was like, okay, well, we had the boys in all their underwear earlier. Now we gotta get Sigourney in her underwear, I guess. That works. And she puts the cat in cryo sleep, because it won't stop being, like, all around. And then, guess what she finds, bud?
Alien.
Yeah, the xenomorph! Woo! Welcome back! So she, like, runs away from it and slips into a spacesuit.
Very slowly.
Yeah. Very, very slowly. As it creeps around and then hides in another little spot. And then she just comes out and quietly sits down at her seat, straps herself in, starts fucking with the air vents to try and scare it out, and then finally it pops out right in front of her, and she hits the ejector button and opens the door, and the thing goes flying out. She hits it with the grappling hook, which was really fucking cool.
Yep.
But when the door closes, it hooks the grappling hook in. So the motherfucker is smart enough to try and go into the booster. And I'm like, you're about to get blown up, aren't you, dude? Yep, he just got incinerated out of there. Bye. Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad. Then Ridley finally, she's done it. She's killed the alien. So she sends a message back to Earth saying everybody else is dead.
Here I come.
Yep. Hopefully within like a couple weeks somebody will be able to read this and get me. I'm going into cryo sleep. And then she goes to sleep. We're so used to now, like as an audience, waiting for a final jump scare. And we just watch her sleep as we fade into the credits. It's really kind of nice.
Yeah, she won.
Yeah. until the next year when we find out, things didn't work out how she planned. But that's next year's stuff, bud. Till then, I do have to ask you, what do you give this movie out of 10 xenomorphs?
8.5.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I would give it 10.
10.
10 out of 10 xenomorphs.
There
I
you
love
go.
this movie.
It's super good.
Yeah, I'm really okay with the pacing. I'm like, especially for like a hangover day, I'm like, this is action I can handle. It's gory, but not too gory. It's got really talented actors in it. It's like auteur directed, but like not in like I really need to take the time to process this way, just like in a way that is very like right in front of your face. Yeah, I just love this movie. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, it was just the action was awesome. It was very suspenseful. The first half was a little slow, but it was the perfect build, and it was the perfect ending.
Totally. And then next year we're going to talk about James Cameron Aliens.
Cool.
What do you think that movie's about? As someone who's never seen it, I wanted to get your blind take now. Excuse me.
I'm gonna guess somehow one of them got back to Earth, reproduce. I don't know. It's aliens.
Right. Well, maybe something like that happens. Maybe. We'll figure it out next year. Till then, I'm at True Torrance.
At Pop Top Pat.
And of course, stay tuned again next week for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.